please feel free to raise your hand, and at some point I will open up your mic and you can ask your question to Field. Or if you can't speak, there's a picture of his books on the wall, and you can write your question underneath that picture. Also, too, for those of you that have been asking me about his books, I did put the email information on that post. You can email me at therevivalofamerica@yahoo.com. If you're interested in purchasing either a single book or the set of his books, just reach out to me via email, and I will get your address where we can deliver them to, as well as get you the information on how you can purchase them. Also, to everybody, as I always say, please be careful who you listen to and who you follow. It's wild out there. The narratives are being spun. People are exposing themselves. People are now spinning a narrative about the 50-year mortgage. They're mad about the obviously we know about the SNAP payments and stuff like that. So just everybody be careful. I can't stress it enough who you're listening to, because even some people that I have been listening to, I'm starting to have a question mark in my head about. So just for some of the things that they're saying. So am I jumping the fence on them yet? No, not particularly, but I'm just kind of watching what they're saying and how they're behaving. Remember, patterns are key. Consistency is key. What they're saying, who they're bringing on, how their guests are acting. So please be mindful of that. And that's why, everybody, I stay consistent with my guests. I'll bring a new one on here and there. But my guests are consistent. They always stay consistent in what they say. They never falter. And that's very key in this movement. And we have been told that. Also, we're being told, everybody, and Alpha Warrior, we've got a hot day today, guys. Alpha Warrior is going to confirm this too later. The next 6 weeks, everybody, head on a swivel. It's going to get wild. So we have Field right now. We're going to have John Baxter after Field. Then we're going to have Alpha Warrior. And then guests, our Captain Kyle, our favorite Captain Kyle, is back. So he will be on for the last show of the day at 5:30 Central Standard Time. Alpha Warrior is going to be on at, I think is it 2 p.m. Mountain? These time zones, you guys are killing me. But I believe it's 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And then John's going to be on at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So just watch for this thing to my channel to pop up, and you'll know that obviously we're having a live. But Alpha Warrior is going to be over on X. So pay attention to that. He went to Florida. He had a conference over there and talked to a lot of people. So he's gonna bring a lot of information back from that event that he had, and some of the stuff that he was talking behind the scenes on, and what we can hopefully be looking for here in the coming days. So please, everybody, tighten it up. I'm telling you, you need to tighten it up. They're going to go full throttle on trying to divide the MAGA movement. They're already doing it, but it's going to get more crazy. So please don't listen to that. And if you guys are just really that confused and don't know who to listen to Donald Trump. He is telling us, everybody, and he is telling us exactly about this 50-year mortgage. It's brilliant. He does things for a reason. And also to follow Rapid 47 over there on X. It's his team that basically is letting you know the promises made, promises delivered, that these haters, these fakesters are not sharing that. They're twisting everything that he's doing and trying to turn it into a bad bullshit narrative. So everybody, please be careful. I mean, I can't stress it enough. I have people reaching out to me so confused, but I'm trying to tell you guys, keep it simplified. Just follow one or two people, and if that's Trump and Rapid 47, then you're golden. But again, just be careful, everybody. Also, too, if you come into the podcast late, everybody, we are being listened to in over 100 countries. You can give the replay to a family and friend, or if you needed to listen to it again, follow the podcast hosts on the podcast hosts, which are iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Apple, Google, Breaker, POCKETCAST, Podbean, Riverside, Amazon Music. Social medias are Jenny Jeread Facebook, at Jenny_Jeread X, at JJeread Rumble, at JJeread True Social, at JJeread Instagram. The Revival of America right here on Telegram, and the Revival of America over on YouTube. I am out of timeout, so I am posting those shows over there now as well. Also, guys, if I don't have a podcast or I have to reschedule, it's because I have a day gig, and that takes precedence over my podcast. This is the secondary. I do it in my spare time, and I've had to reschedule a few this week due to a couple things, work purposes, because this is our busy season. So don't freak out, don't get upset. I will reschedule them. So watch for that if that happens. Like Field, I had to reschedule his because I had the exterminators here because I'm finding scorpions within my yard and little baby ones in my garage. So the scorpions outside were kind of big and freaky. But anyway, so that's done. And then Rick Anson, yesterday with Brain IQ, I had to reschedule him just because work issues, as well as John Baxter. I pushed him for today. So don't get upset. I will get those rescheduled. But it's getting wild because Warren's going to be, I double booked Warren. He was supposed to come on today, but he's going to come on next week with Dallas. I got information from Dallas that he's not starting the new gig just yet. So that's been postponed. He'll probably tell you about that on next Wednesday. Then I'll be bringing Jake Lang back on for the J6er. He has just filed a pretty, I think, $35 million lawsuit. And so he's going to come on and talk about that. And then I'm trying to get Jackson Lemire on from Trump's Faith Council over there in the White House. He's the founder of Pastors for Trump. Again, Monday was just kind of one of those rough days. So hang in there, buddy. We're trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure it out over here. I'm a one-man show, and it's a lot. But I'm doing it for you guys. So just remember that. So don't get upset or anything, but I'm still here, not going anywhere. In fact, the podcast is probably going to get larger because we're being told that people such as myself, Alpha Warrior, and other people, they're gonna want us to be doing more shows because a lot of the people out there, the fakesters and stuff like that, and Alpha will talk to you about this as well. They're going to be called to the floor, and you just may see them disappear. And they're talking one day, and then they're not. Like they maybe get shut down or something like that. So it's coming. It's happening, everybody. So please be careful. Also, go to the website, check it out, therevivalofamerica.com. The merch store is there. Fields page is there. You can sign up for the newsletter. It is free. You get the weekly show lineup and the latest updates on the podcast. And then last but not least, everybody, I know this was a long PSA, but I just kind of want to explain a little bit about, what I'm doing with my day gig and all that stuff. So if I'm not here, don't think I'm not going to reschedule. I'm just kind of giving you an update or on me, right? So if you have a story or a journey to share, please reach out to me at TROA Submissions. Give me your story. We'll vet it. We'll read through it. And if we believe it's a legitimate story, we'll reach out to you via email. We'll get you scheduled on the show to have your voice and your story heard. Because remember, everybody, it's your voices, your stories that are going to help shape this new world that we're coming into. And everybody, hang on to the positives. So many positives are happening. I can't even keep up with it. I'm getting the chills talking about it because it's freaking phenomenal. This 50-year mortgage is brilliant, and Trump is just the master troll. This plan is just coming together so beautifully, and I love watching it happen. So please, everybody, stay out of the noise. And it's just that, it's noise, but it's going to get louder and louder to where you're going to want to plug your ears because it's going to get that bad. So with that, everybody, I'm done speaking. You're done hearing my voice for a little bit. Let's welcome Field onto the stage. How are you, Field? Push the blue button, Field.
How's that? Notice how you can command me and I immediately respond? Yeah.
Hi, Field.
Thanks for reminding. Yeah, I'm fine. And how are you today, Jenny, other than extremely busy?
Oh my goodness gracious, I am fabulous. Never a bad day for me. I try to stay positive all the time because there's just so much to look forward to, and I'm really excited about it. I don't know how you're feeling about everything, but a lot of stuff is going on. And I don't know, did you share with the chat? I don't know if you did, if you had the new grandbaby at that point. Did you share with the chat that you had a new addition to your family, a new grandson, right?
Yeah, did I tell you what his name is?
No.
Romeo.
Oh, I love it.
Well, I do too. See, his father, his biological father, who's my son-in-law, is from whatever that country is, Serbia, And Serbia is one half of the former Yugoslavia. And so he's, first of all, I'll focus on him. He is one of the nicest young men I know, and nobody will often hear me say nice and young man in the same breath. But he is a nice young man, and he's married to my 31-year-old daughter, and Romeo is their fourth grandchild that they've produced in my lineage. And I have 10 grandchildren. I have 4 children of my own, and I'm noticing something that pleases me a great deal. As you guys know, my wife, Denise, who's gone to heaven, sadly, from my perspective, but my wife and I started the Children's Crusade back in 2019. And then while I was away on false arrest in Florida, thanks to Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida and Governor Tony Evers of Wisconsin, and Tony Evers has announced about a month ago that he's not seeking reelection. That's good, because Wisconsin deserves to have a real governor, not some candy ass. Pardon my language, if you must. But and so the governors of Florida and Wisconsin conspired against me outside of due process and with disregard for the U.S. Constitution. And they're going to find out the hard way that I'm a rather gifted writer, and I can write a 300-page book in 2 weeks without breaking a sweat. And the very first couple of paragraphs of this book, which is a tribute to my wife, and I didn't say late wife because, you know, in the wedding vows it says, "Till death do us part." Well, I'm not parting. You know, I still respect, and I'm related to Denise Irene Clark, later Denise Irene Clark Mcconnell. And now it's a question for you, Jenny. Jenny, have you seen a photograph of the 2 monuments in my front yard? One monument as if it's a goodbye monument to Denise, and right beside it is a monument with my name that totally matches hers. And that's because in my mind and my heart, I didn't want her to look down from heaven and seeing what's the equivalent of a grave marker, because she didn't have a grave. She was cremated, and that caused me to decide to be cremated. And when I was trying to rationalize the morality of cremation, I asked my youngest daughter, who's today 31 years old, I said, I'm not going to repeat her first name. Many of you people know her first name. But I asked my daughter what she thought of cremation from a Christian standpoint, and she instantly said, without even thinking for a moment, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. And I've got Denise's ashes. I've got 2 urns filled with her ashes on my fireplace mantle. And if you think about it historically, a fireplace is where many old families, meaning old time families, not age old families, but you know, they'd gather around the fireplace for warmth, and that was the center of the home. Well, that's exactly where Denise's ashes are. They're on the fireplace mantle in my house. And that's my way of keeping her warm and keeping my heart filled with memories, pleasant, all of them, of Denise Irene Clark McConnell. Uh, what a blessing. And I've had lots of blessings. I just had my 10th grandchild, Romeo. I get a kick out of his name, but see, his father's Serbian. And my daughter and my son-in-law have named their 4 grandkids basically Serbian names. And I think it's delightful that they named this most recent grandson Romeo. And if he had had a twin sister, I hope they would have named her Juliet, because that would be a reminder to all of us on earth, Serbian or not, that love is kind and love is not blind. And, we can all do with more love in our life and less contention. How am I doing
I
so far?
Oh, you're doing
No, I
great. I
just,
love that.
oh, well, thank you. It's all spontaneous. And I've got a witness, and I'm not going to mention her name, but many of you know her name. But she's a medical professional who looks in on me for two reasons. One, because she wants to monitor my health, and I thank her for that. She can tell if she walked through my office door, which she has recently, but with one look, she can figure out how I'm doing in general. And then with one question, she can ask me what I've done differently that's caused me to look like I have a problem. And if she were to say that, I'd say, what do you mean looks like I have a problem? I do have a problem. It's called diarrhea of the mouth. So anyway, I just got a notification from somebody. It was probably from Jenny saying, clean up your language, you old geezer. Well, old and geezer are redundant. But anyway, over to you, Jenny.
No, it wasn't for me. You're good. I'm over here laughing in the background.
Oh, good.
Well, tell Miss Heidi, I hope she's feeling better. God bless her. I know she had an incident the other day, so I hope she's doing okay.
Well, I'm looking at her too. Like she looks at me. She looks to me to see how I'm doing. And then she gives me medical advice that's better than the AMA because I'm her only patient. Uh, but no, she's feeling better and she's smiling. And I think I even saw her laughing a little. Uh, she sort of likes this podcast, and I sort of like it too. In fact, I love it. Today's Wednesday, and this isn't podcast day. And, I forgot about it. Well, I remembered it this morning. And fortunately, I was having a gathering uh, of some people that are associates or friends of mine. And we're thinking about having a get together over Thanksgiving. And one of the people is from Canada, one of the people is from England, Heidi's from up the road, and then I'm me. I'm the old guy that lives here, which and I live alone, but I'm surrounded by memories. Memories sweetened through the ages, just like wine. I don't like wine; it gives me a headache. But anyway, enough about that. Over to you, Jenny. I don't want to give you a headache.
Oh no, you're good. I'm glad that you're sharing all that. I don't know, are you paying attention to all the great things that are happening? I would love to know your thoughts on what you see is happening, with obviously Trump announced the 50-year mortgage, and then obviously the shutdown, government is reopened. What are your thoughts? I mean, there's so many great things happening. I mean, Trump is he's just brilliant. He's just the master troll. I love it.
Did you say a master troll?
Yes. He
Yeah,
trolls these
I
people
think
and I
he's.
love it.
Oh yeah, well he's smarter than they are, and they haven't figured that out because they're dumber than rocks. If they weren't dumber than rocks, they'd be supporting Trump instead of trying to bring him down. They'll never bring him down. God put him in position. That's a true statement. He said it himself. He said that he was called, and I know what being called means. Um, I think that you've been called, Jenny. I'm quite certain I've been called, and that sounds like cheap talk. Well, cheap talk this for you people who don't know the Bible. Um, Ephesians 5:11 have nothing to do with the evil deeds of darkness, but rather expose them. And then, pardon me for clearing my throat. Uh, Psalm 94:16. Read that, and you don't need a Bible. You don't even need glasses. You can just go to Google or any other search engine and put in Psalm 94:16, and you can read a story that I can't quote it accurately, and I'm not even going to try. But it basically is a story of God looking down from heaven on the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, and God says to himself, "Who on earth will fight this battle for me? Who will take on these evildoers?" And I read that about 5 times one night in the chair that I'm sitting in right now, and I was inspired. That doesn't mean I knew, that means I felt. I was inspired to believe with all my heart that God was asking me to take on this battle on earth for him against evil. And I've done it, and I've done it my way. And everyone knows the song, "I Did It My Way." But people don't know that that song was written by a Canadian who is actually Lebanese ethnically, and his name was Paul Anka. And Paul Anka was one of the most popular vocal artists back in the late 50s and early 60s. And you know, I'm not trying to say that I'm anything other than a geriatric male. That's definition enough. And so I know what I'm capable of, and anything that I am capable of, I will undertake for the benefit of God, who has called on me twice, once in Ephesians 5:11, and the other time Psalm 94:16. Over to you, Jenny.
Thank you, Fields. Are you keeping up with everything that's going on in the world with what Trump's doing?
I'm trying to, but he's doing so much, he's exhausting me. But
I
you know,
know, right? It's hard to keep up with,
yeah.
but man, it's great. It's great stuff. So, what are your thoughts on the whole 50-year mortgage thing? I think it's brilliant.
Okay, well, could you just give me a snapshot of what that document is?
I just think it's going to, because remember, the Biden administration gave all these free homes to the illegals, right? And those people have to go back eventually. So they're going to have all these homes on the market. I think eventually it's going to tank the market, and it's going to bring us back down to where people can actually afford homes, because we know, during the C-19 lockdowns, the houses were crazy priced, and so they're gonna have all these homes sitting on the market. So I'm curious to see what how that's all gonna play out.
Well, uh, I don't know if you know this about me, but when I went to the Naval Academy, I was a lackluster student, and I became a better student over the 4-year course of study at Annapolis. But I majored in economics. Uh, and, even when I was majoring in economics, I thought, what in the world will I ever be able to do with this degree? Well, I never knew what God was laying out before me, but I actually can look at what's going on financially, and I can consider that Trump's uh, arranging the deck chairs, and I'm very, very impressed and loyal to Donald Trump. Uh, and he actually said that he was called to serve as the president of the United States of America. And what does called mean? I mean, who called him? God did. And that's why I laugh at these people who they can't get behind Trump and support him because they're trying to bring him down. Well, they're wasting their time. He will not be brought down because he is serving God. And I'm trying, as much as I can to serve God alongside or a little bit behind Donald Trump, who I believe in. And I believe in him for lots of reasons. But one, have you ever seen the picture that's on the front page of the Intel Dinar Chronicles, where Donald Trump is carrying two babies, one in each arm, and he's walking them through deep water. Have you ever seen that picture, Jenny?
Yes, I have. And isn't Hillary in the background looking like a devil?
She is the devil, but she may be a deceased devil. I'm not sure. Uh, the mainstream media, which is losing their ass day by day because nobody has confidence in anything they might say. They have an opportunity right now, this day, to turn it around and tell the truth. But I'm not sure if they even know the truth. And it doesn't appear like they have been burdened with the truth. Uh, so it sounds like I'm being critical of not only the mainstream media, but Hillary Clinton. And I confess, I'm guilty of both charges. Let's find out who wins. It's going to be God. No, there's no question that God's going to win this final battle. And what battle is it? Well, it's the battle of good versus evil. And the evil people, and I stopped short of using an F word. So I guess you can teach old guys to be quiet and, try to fit in. And I'd like to fit in, but I don't want to fit in with people like Hillary or Nancy Pelosi, who just announced that she's not running for reelection. Well, that's good because you would have lost anyway, you old bag. Nancy Pelosi is sort of like the questionable female equivalent of Chuck Schumer. And there's another windbag that has no purpose in the government other than to weaken the confidence of we the people in the government that rules us. But, if you get me started on useless politicians, I could lose my voice or fall asleep. So I'll just say over to you, Jenny.
All right, everybody, we're going to go into some questions. So for those of you that have a question for Field, feel free to raise your hand. I will unmute your mic, or you can write your question in the comment area underneath his picture of his books on the wall. Also, too, if you guys have purchased some of his books and started reading them, I would love to hear your thoughts on them. I love mine, and they literally are going to be a national treasure, everybody, as Field is, right? So if you guys have purchased them and started reading them, or maybe some of you are like speed readers and have read all four of them, congratulations. I'd love to know, and I'm sure Field would love to know how you feel about his books as well. So, Mr. Mark, I've unmuted your mic. Go ahead.
Hi, Field, and hi, Jenny.
Hello.
Good to hear from you.
Hi, Mark.
So I wanted to talk about a subject. I'll lay it out for you, and it's an observation that I've had since 2021. I'd like to tell you what I think this means, and I'd like your opinion on what I'm saying here. So I've been to no less than 7 or 8 post offices in the Houston area, and every single one has a black POW flag underneath the American flag. And I go back to Executive Order 13848, which is election interference, foreign or domestic. And so I'm thinking that it's a captured operation. And these POW flags that I'm seeing at these post offices they're captured by the election interference, because in 2020, they were the biggest
one.
of putting these ballots all over the place when the election went an extra 7 days. So I'm wondering if you guys think that these POW flags, because we don't have any POWs that I know of, are that.
Could
Go ahead,
you
Field.
make the question? Well, I was just going to ask him to shorten the talk and just ask me a point blank question. Go ahead, Mark.
Are the POW flags that we're seeing at all these post offices a captured operation, that we've captured the post office and they're guilty of, they're a prisoner of war?
I don't know about that. That's way above my level, but I'm a POW. Did you know that, Mark?
Prisoner of Wisconsin.
Right. Yeah, because the governor of Wisconsin, who, like Nancy Pelosi, has used the good judgment not to run for re-election. Oh, excuse me, I meant re-election. Uh, he wouldn't have gotten voted in again because we, the people of Wisconsin, and have seen how incompetent he is. And in my case, he violated the Constitution, and he also skirted around due process, and he illegally extradited me to Ron DeSantis's fantasy island. Oh, wait a minute. I guess it's called Florida. Uh, and Ron DeSantis is guilty of participating in a crime against me. And that's why I'm writing a book right now. The title is POW, no, excuse me, War Bride, POW. War Bride is my wife, Denise, who married me after I gave her a condition. I said, I'm going to propose to you pretty soon. And when I propose to you, I want you to consider the reality that you could go from a newlywed to a widow in less than a week. Because at that time, I had 4 murder threats on me. And so what did the governor of Wisconsin and the governor of Florida do? They colluded in extraditing me unlawfully to Florida, and they didn't let me come back from Florida until after my wife died. Uh, a lonely wife in a foreign land. She was from England, and she had to be alone in my home, which is on 100 acres of woods, and it's a very desirable piece of property, but not when you're used to living in the outskirts of London and you're an English lady. And who's going to defend you if your husband and his 357 made by Ruger are not here? And the answer is God protected Denise, and God took her home early because he knew that she had thyroid cancer and that it could not be cured, sadly. And sadly for who? Sadly for me. And that's enough for me to write a book about what a wonderful person she was. And I've got witnesses, and one of the witnesses is in my office right now listening to my long-winded responses. Over to you, Mark.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess, Jenny, if you have any opinion on that, or anybody in the chat or has noticed these black POW flags at the post offices underneath the American flag, sure like to know about it.
Honestly, I have not noticed, but the next time I go to the post office, I'll check it out. And that would be
Well, I've noticed
that would be a great question for Derek Johnson for sure. He will be on next Monday.
Okay. Well, good to hear from you,
Okay.
Field.
Yeah, Mark, likewise you. And does your last name have an E as the second letter?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Don't say absolutely to me, or I'll go out and pour a martini. But because I favor that flavor, and I've got a witness in my office right now who gets a kick out of my total recall when it comes to hosing the bad guys, which is my job that God gave me. And some people are scratching their whatever right now saying, when did God ask you to do something? Well, when he caused me to read Ephesians 5:11, and I'll repeat myself, and I hate doing that, but some people don't get it the first time. What it says is, have nothing to do with the evil deeds of darkness, but rather expose them. So I'm a willing exposure artist, and I'll expose everybody that I can determine has benefited from child trafficking. That would include the vast majority of the former deep state government of the United States of America. Um, they are elected to office to serve we the people, and the ones that were in the deep state government, for instance, my sister, never served we the people, they served themselves. and they serve themselves by setting up their grandiose retirements that are lifetime retirements. And that's like they're being rewarded for a lifetime of disservice to the Constitution. And that's not my imagination. And I'm really not someone who can be easily silenced, or they would have got me when I was in jail in Florida after being illegally extradited from Wisconsin under the lack of leadership by Governor Tony Evers, who's like Nancy Pelosi. He's not running for re-election either. Now, if we can just get Chuck Schumer to announce he's not running for re-election, I'll throw a Thanksgiving party at my house for a select number of people who've all been attending a sort of a formative committee phone conversation today. There's two ladies and there's another gentleman. And I said gentleman, and if anybody thinks I'm not a gentleman, they don't know me. And if they want to argue that, they don't know who's a master debater. Isn't that a lovely choice of words? Jenny, master debater.
Oh boy. Morning.
Yeah. No, I think I want to encourage people to smile more and have confidence more that everything's going to be okay. And for one very good reason. God himself has won the battle of good versus evil, and the good side won. And Donald Trump is the greatest example of what I just mentioned. Over to you, Jenny. Thank you, Mark,
Phil.
for your question. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mark. All right. Palm Mom, go ahead. Your mic is unmuted.
Hold on a sec. I can't talk right now. Sorry.
Okay. Lindy, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead.
All right, Jenny, it's Palm Mom again. I wanted to let him know that within 5 miles of us, we have 3 post offices, and they all fly those flags. So they're out there.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
I'll have to take note. I really haven't been paying attention, but I will definitely check it out at my post office. Lindy, your mic, Lindy T, you requested a mic. Go ahead. It's unmuted. Go ahead, Lindy. Lindy T or Lindy, however you say it. Your mic is unmuted. All right, I'm going to read some questions here on the wall field. Here's one from Debbie Lou. Here's one from Debbie Lou. Can you please explain who was responsible for 9/11? I tried talking to a few people that it had nothing to do with the Muslim terrorists, and they got angry with me. Thank you so much for all you do, and God bless.
Well, maybe those people are Muslim haters. They shouldn't get angry for someone who says that Muslims or Islamists had nothing to do with 9/11, because if anybody's guilty of that, I'm the guiltiest party, and I'm going to continue saying that Muslims and Islamists had nothing, zero, squat, nothing to do with 9/11. Are you ready to copy down the 4 names? This is I'm not asking you, Jenny, to write down these 4 names. I think you know them. But the 4 people that were most responsible for 9/11 were all Americans, and one of them was George H.W. Bush, who was a gay Nazi, and he's a pedophile. And if people don't want to believe that, well, go ahead, put your head back up where it used to be, and don't listen anymore to me. And but I'm the guy that originally said that George H.W. Bush, John McCain, Hillary Clinton, and my own sibling were responsible for allowing and causing 9/11 to happen. And why did I say that? And when did I first say it? I first said it at noon on the morning of 9/11, where we turned into the afternoon of 9/11. And I said it because I witnessed with my own eyes, I witnessed the technology that I had given to my sister a long, long time ago, a long time before 9/11, I think specifically in December of 88. My sister was the person in charge of the U.S. Marshal Service, which had an aviation branch. A lot of people would call it JPATS, Joint Prisoner Air Travel Service, but a lot of other people would call it Con Air. And so on the morning of 9/11, I identified who had done 9/11 because I recognized the technology, and the technology has been caused by public acclamation to my speaking. The technology is called the Boeing Uninterruptible Autopilot, and that was a device that was installed in all new Boeing aircraft starting in 1995 and all new Airbus aircraft prior to 1995. And it was supposed to be a safety feature. Well, guess what the Clinton Foundation did? They took that safety feature and caused it to be responsible for around 20 aviation accidents, which were no accident. And Hillary Clinton, I believe, has been executed, but that may not be true. But if she hadn't been executed yet, she will be for crimes against humanity. And I believe that her husband, Bill, and when I say husband and Hillary, that sounds like I'm saying, a husband and a wife. No, that's not what I'm saying. They are not really a husband and wife because Bill Clinton has a disease called Peyronie's disease, which means his breeding unit is bent. Well, you can't push a rope. And if anybody can send a videotape to me of somebody successfully pushing a rope, I will eat my words. Until then, I'll just keep right on trucking because I think America is very happy to be hearing the truth. And not just America. How about the other 99 countries? Thank you, Jenny, for having a platform that reaches 100 countries, all of them seeking the truth. And none of them are going to find the truth in what is formerly called the mainstream media. And I say formally because I don't think anybody calls them anything anymore, and pretty much most people ignore them. I'm being distracted because in my office, I ordered a tripod about a year ago when I got a brand new video camera, and I never knew where it went. And it's just, there's somebody in my office right now who's not here to listen to me, but she doesn't have any choice because I'm talking. And she did find my tripod. And anyway, as a side note, Jenny, and I hope you don't get offended, but when I flew F-16s in the North Dakota Air National Guard in Fargo, North Dakota, we had a pilot whose call sign was tripod. Do the math. Over to you, Jenny.
Ah, Phil, gotta love your sense of humor.
Well,
All
yeah,
right.
but I don't make this stuff up. I've lived it, and I'm still living it. And I'm 76, and I just had my 10th grandchild, and I'm having a very happy life. Most days, some days are worse than others, but they're all blessings from God. Over to you, Jenny.
Well, and many people are going to love to hear that from you, Phil, because I know you have a lot of people out there that love and care about you and your well-being. So that's awesome to hear. All right, here's another one since we're talking about 9/11 and you're just briefly speaking about your sister. It is from, what is that? Go north to Dakota. When is the last time you spoke to your sister? When did she get pulled into the deep state? Appreciate you and Jenny very much. Thank you both.
The last time I spoke with my sister, it's been so long. I have to remember where I was living. I wasn't in this house, so that means it's before 2010, and I think it was perhaps 2007 is the last time. Oh no, I'm wrong. I'm going to correct myself, and I said correct, not erect. You know, in case Nancy Pelosi's listening, she probably would have been aroused by that comment. No, the last time I spoke to my sister was actually in February, about three years ago. I was at a dinner party at a very nice, and in fact, when I quote the name of the restaurant in Ellsworth, Wisconsin, the name of the restaurant is Shady Grove. And my cell phone rang while I was at the table of 12 people having dinner. And it was my sister. And so I said, "Oh, I'm in a nice restaurant having a meal with 12 people, me being one of the 12. So I'm going to step outside so I can talk to you." And I stepped outside and I said, "Okay, Chris," that's her name, her given name, or her birth name was Christine Ann Mcconnell, but then she married a guy whose surname was Marcy. So regardless of where she may be or may not be, and when I say that, I thought for about 2 years now that she had been dealt with by the military white hats at Guantanamo. And now there's a little bit of doubt in my mind about whether that's true or not. But I have total confidence in Trump and his military white hats. And, you know, these people that have worked very strenuously to participate in the destruction of the United States of America, they've been wasting their time. God has protected this country, and the military professionals under the leadership of the person that is responsible for making decisions for the U.S. military, currently President Donald John Trump. He's a great leader. And, you know, I'm a fairly good follower. And the white hats are a breath of fresh air because for years, and I've written about this literally for years, the leadership of the military in the United States of America was rather deplorable. And so anyway, I don't want to badmouth all those guys because I can't even remember their names. One of them was named Dempsey, and he was chairman of the Joint Chiefs, and he was not a loyal servant. I'll leave it at that. And notice I didn't mention his first name, not because I don't know it. I do know it, but it does create a mood where other people are going to start looking on the internet for a Dempsey that was once in charge of the. Just hang on a minute. I'm getting a cue from one of my associates. What were you saying? Who? Martin. Anyway, I just had a little brief conversation. Maybe that's redundant. I just had a brief conversation with an associate who is a health professional who saved my life on 2 occasions. Over to you, Jenny.
Thank you, Field. Also, to everybody, I have put, for those of you that kind of want a little bit more of an explanation and a breakdown of the shutdown, I put something on the wall that Trump posted on his Truth Social. It's definitely worth a listen because it explains a little bit more and the brilliance of what is going on here. And then I'm also going to put one on regarding the 50-year mortgage from Josh Reed that he did last night. Check that out. I will post that on the wall as well, but that gives a great explanation too about this 50-year mortgage. Because again, everybody, I do believe this. I mean, again, Trump is always 100 steps ahead of everybody. There's a reason why he does everything. And this 50-year mortgage, I believe, is going to do great things for us and how it could potentially be structured. So Southern Gal and Blessed, Miss Patty, go ahead. Your mic is unmuted. So watch for
Thank you
those on the
so
wall,
much.
everybody. Go ahead, Patty.
Thank you so much. Hi, Mr. Field. Congratulations on that new grandbaby.
You mean
wanna say that-
Romeo?
Yes. It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, I feel blessed, and there's people out there who don't know me that must scratch their head when I say I feel blessed. First of all, I know exactly what that means. I know who confers the blessing, and I do feel blessed to have 10 grandchildren, as well as the 4 natural children that I fathered. And I I think being a father is one of the 3 most important jobs in the world. And I don't know what the second one is, but I know the most important job in the world is being a mother, because mothers have to carry the baby for 9 months. And then I think it's fairly painful, the physical delivery. I've never delivered a child because I'm not a female. But I've witnessed the delivery of several of my children, and it looks like something that's quite a contribution on the part of the mother. And then, of course, the mother typically is more responsible for the upbringing and the nurturing and the nursing of the child than the father could ever be. And in many families, especially in the old days before mothers started going to work full time during World War II, according to my recollection, I just respect mothers. I respect ladies. I want to do what I can do to help protect children. And that's why, not to, not to repeat myself, but that's why my wife, Denise, who's now in heaven, she and I started the Children's Crusade. And I'm talking to Patty right now, correct? Is that right, Patty?
Yes, you're
Yes,
talking to
sir.
Patty.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Well, there's another Patty I know that may be involved at the top of the Children's Crusade when we bring it back. And I'm hoping that that can happen by April or May of 2026 with a conference in Dallas, Texas. We'll see what God has in mind. But I'd like to do that, and I can do all the footwork planning, and I think I can find the funding, whatever funding is necessary to organize and deploy that conference of the Children's Crusade in Dallas. And it would do my heart a lot of good if the next gathering could be in Llangollen, and I'll spell that Llangollen, Llangollen, North Wales. It's a beautiful part of Wales, is on the Atlantic Ocean side of England, and excuse me, not the Atlantic Ocean, the Irish Sea. But Wales is a part of the United Kingdom, and I just saw a video last night about reclaiming the United Kingdom from the corrupt government. And I don't even know the guy's name. His first name is Keir, I think, like Keir, and he's a question mark in my mind. And but I think he's the Prime Minister of the UK right now. And a verbatim quote from Donald John Trump about a year and a half ago or so. He said that one of his many purposes is to liberate the United Kingdom And what he means by that is shut down the phony baloney BS called the royals. These royals are not royal at all. And the only royal of which I'm aware of that's ever walked the face of the earth, excuse me, is my Savior, and his name is Jesus Christ. He's the only royal I know. And so these phony baloney pedophiles that are running the English government, they should probably go away. Over to you, Jenny.
So I want to just finish my conversation real quick, Phil. So you are very blessed to have 10 beautiful grandchildren. I have 5 of my own and 2 that I kind of adopted. So I feel blessed to have 7 that I call my grandchildren. And I
Yes.
wanted to tell you that my dad, saw him yesterday, and he told me to tell you Happy Veterans Day to another Marine. And I have to tell you a quick story. He goes to this diner in his area, and he ran into this gentleman. I don't know, since I've talked to you, he's ran into this gentleman. Well, come to find out, they both served in the Marines at the same base in the 50s. And this gentleman lives in the same town as my father, and they have just been running the streets all over the place. This gentleman's 93, and as you know, my dad's 92. So he said, "Hoorah to you" from him. He asked me how you were doing, and I told him that you seemed to be doing great. And the other thing I wanted to say to you is thank you for your services in so many different ways, right? 3 times in the military and being a whistleblower and being the person that you are. And we're grateful for you to be in our lives, and that's the truth. Third of all, I'd like to say about your books, I bought 5 sets of them for my grandchildren and I put them away. And so I guess I need to buy another set for myself so I can open them and read them. So anyway, anybody that's looking for a great Christmas gift or wants to, give somebody something that's going to be historic, I would highly recommend Field's books. So anyway, I just wanted to say hello to you and God bless you. And I'm so happy for you that your grandbaby's here and you're doing well.
Well, thank you very much. And speaking of my doing well, I think you mean health-wise. And in my office right now is the person who's most responsible for my health. She's a medical professional. They know who you are, and I'm not going to tell them who you are. They know. But she saved my life on 2 occasions. Once when I had gangrene in my gallbladder, and I didn't find out until 2 hours before the surgery because I went to the hospital in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, and the person that admitted me to the hospital was the surgeon. And he said, "I've got some news for you, Mr. Mcconnell." And I said, "Oh, good. What's the news?" He said, "In 48 hours, you're going to be dead." I said, "Well, that sounds like a death threat, but I know it's not coming from you." But I said, "To what do you attribute my upcoming death?" And he says, "You have gangrene in your pardon me, it's a tongue twister for me. You have gangrene in your gallbladder, and if it's not removed within 48 hours, you'll be deceased." And I said, "Well, that doesn't sound very promising." I said, "Is there a potential remedy?" And he said, "Yes, you can sign this release that releases this hospital and me, the surgeon, for anything that might happen in the surgery to remove your gallbladder." And I signed it right away. And in just a little over an hour later, I was I was without a gallbladder. And I never felt any pain during the operation. And I never had any pain during the recovery period. So anyway, I've sort of getting sidetracked like I always do. And let me explain, it's not because I lack focus. It's just that I am very well educated and trained in a specific form of literature called stream of consciousness, which, to put that into common English, it means somebody who can start on one topic and switch to 17 others in the next 12 minutes. And I'm not bragging, but most people don't even know that that's called stream of consciousness. So pardon my run-on sentence, Patty in Florida, no, or is it Georgia? It's one of the two. But wherever you are, Patty, would you
Florida.
please tell did you say Florida?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, I'm not a sir, I'm your friend. But your dad is a friend of mine, and he wished me, good tidings. And could you tell your father that I think of him often when I'm thinking about marine things, which I'm not focused or absorbed with marine things in my history, but I feel that was the greatest contribution, or the greatest intentional contribution that I've ever done for the United States of America. And when I say that, it's not like a knee-jerk reaction, but I joined the military when I was 17 in Annapolis, and I'm trying to remember the date. I think it was June 28th of 67. I served from that date forward until sometime in 1993, and that's when I got out of the North Dakota Air National Guard. But then I immediately voluntarily put my neck on a chopping block when I started exposing criminals inside the federal government, but only the deep state part of the federal government. And one of the exposures I committed was when at noon on 9/11, the very day of the attack, I made a statement on the internet that it was not Muslims and it was not Islamists that did 9/11. It was deep state politicians in the United States government. And, can I hold them accountable? No, I can't, but God will. And he has already held some accountable, and he'll get them all. Because it says in the Bible, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. And if God becomes vengeful, bad people better seek shelter, and they're not going to find any. They're just going to perish. And that's not my ruling. That's God's own rule. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. People should read that passage in the Bible. Over to you, Jenny, and thank you for your time, Patty. I hope I cheered you up and cheered up your father today.
Yeah, I'll let him listen to the audio. So yeah, thanks, Field. He made mention of it yesterday, and I said eventually I'll talk to him, and I will let him know. And he said 250 years of the badass Marines. How about that? So anyway, he's
Can I correct you, please?
yeah.
Okay, badass Marine is redundant because, and I'm speaking as a retired Marine, not active, but when I say badass Marine is redundant, here's why I say that. Of the 4 military branches, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, only the Marines can be dispatched to conduct warfare on foreign nations without the permission of Congress. Well, with people like Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi abusing we the people, I'm glad that the Marines can be deployed with no permission or participation by the U.S. Congress, because I wonder how many pedophiles have served in the U.S. Congress over the years. And I think if that number could be established, most Americans would be alarmed. But your father, Patty, and myself and other Marines You know, if somebody wants to engage the Marines, don't think you're going to be able to focus on one or two of us, because when you attack one or two of us, all the rest of us join in and overwhelm you in every way. So I'll say goodbye to Patty for now. Thank you very much for the questions and the stories, about your father. And I'll say over to you, Jenny.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Patty. All right, Miss Cal, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead.
Hi. I have a comment and then a question. I'm not sure about this. We have these, I live in California. We have these black flags everywhere on these flagpoles. My logic tells me it symbolizes something, perhaps, that we've all been prisoners of war in this country ever since we've been under the corporation. And when Donald Trump brings it out to the public, what the heck's been going on, I think these flags will be removed. I don't know if I'm right about it. It's just a logical thought. My question to you is, Field.
Real quickly, Cal, I was thinking the same thing, so I'm right there with you. Go ahead.
Congratulations on your new baby, Romeo. But could you tell us anything, what you know about where Cheney plays a part, Dick Cheney, and all this with 9/11 and whatever else he's been involved with? Thank you.
Well, Dick Cheney finally got what he had deserved. He deserved from long ago. He was a deep stater. He was like the adult manager or the adult director of George W. Bush. And there's some people that have stated publicly that they question the intelligence of G.W. Bush. Well, I think rather than question G.W. Bush, the question should be laid at the feet of Dick Cheney for what were you doing during 9/11 and why did you allow it to happen? And or maybe it's that he helped cause it to happen. 9/11 was not a foreign attack on U.S. soil. It was a U.S. attack on U.S. soil. And once again, the people that I would lay it at the feet of start with George H.W. Bush, John McCain, Hillary Clinton, and my own sibling. So I've had a front row seat to the deep state for a number of years, and I have nothing good to say about them or that organization. But I think that's a good question. And I think your observation on the POW flags, we have been prisoners of war, but the other major combatants are the UK fake royals and the Vatican Jesuits. I just can't believe it's taken 24 years now for the truth of 9/11 to start finding its way out of the shadows and come into the public knowledge of the true history of 9/11. I got that phone call from my sibling at the Shady Grove restaurant in Ellsworth, Wisconsin. And there's a fly in here or something. Pardon me, I had to speak to the medical professional. I feel blessed to be able to speak truthfully about 9/11 and say this bullet statement. Muslims and Islamists had absolutely nothing to do with the attack of 9/11. And if anybody wants to argue that in front of a neutral camera from an honest news station, if one such honest news station still exists, which is a question mark, I'd be glad to articulate the response. And speaking of that, and this is sort of something that just developed in the last week, Jenny, and that's why I haven't told you. At least I don't think I've told you. But I've been asked by a senior person at the FAA if I'd consider being a spokesman with the FAA on the true nature of whatever it is that's happened to our country and how it's going to get fixed. But I think when you have an FAA senior leader asking me to participate in an exposure type meeting, I'm honored to be asked. And if I'm allowed to do that, or if I'm not allowed to do it, doesn't matter to me. I'm making my statement right now. I'm willing to do it. And the person at the FAA that has asked me if I'd participate, I don't think it would be good for his name to get out there, so I'm not going to release his name. But I take it as a great compliment that someone who's 3 years older than me has enough confidence in my recall of the events of 9/11 that he would ask me to participate in a federal conversation. And I told him I'd be happy to come to Washington at my own expense and perform whatever it was he thought I could perform that would result in the American people learning more about this totally misunderstood 9/11. And when I say it's totally misunderstood, that's because of the mainstream media and the people in the deep state government who have not allowed the truth to come out. Over to you, Jenny, and thank you for the question, Cal.
I just have one more comment. All of us here, I mean, we shouldn't even have a moment to complain about anything because of what you've done in your life and people for years. But all of us that have learned all this information in the last 5 or 6 years, I think a lot of us have battle fatigue. I pray to God that the truth of this comes out this year by Christmas, and it's not next year at Christmas, where we're supposed to have a good Christmas in 2026. Thank you very much.
Well, God bless you for your kindness with those words. And I would like the people out there that know my name to know that I'm just a humble servant of Christ. And if I serve in a confusing manner, that's okay, because that means the bad people are really confused because they don't know what I'm made of. And what I'm made of is something that God instilled in me and installed in me. And, I do what I've been called to do. And just like Donald Trump is doing what he's been called to do. And when people are called to serve Jesus Christ and their government, well, I answered the call, and I paid a price? Well, yes, if you consider being falsely arrested with no due process and violation of my constitutional service, and then people that are not serving the Constitution cause me to be arrested and illegally, maybe I'll change that word to unlawfully, extradited to Florida. And the 3 people that participated in that abuse of my constitutional rights were the governors of Florida, Ron DeSantis, the governors of Wisconsin, Tony Evers, and a judge in the 17th district of the Florida Justice Department, or their collection of courthouses, 17th District Judge Dan Casey. So those 3 people are not going to like my book that I'm writing called War Bride POW, where my wife, who was from England, Denise Irene Clark, later Mcconnell, and the Dan Casey, the judge in Florida that denied my request, that was on a Zoom call, and so it's probably on YouTube. But I asked the judge if I could be released from my detention in Florida so I can go home and say goodbye to my wife before she died. He denied me permission. And then 16 days later, he gave me permission to go home to an empty house and a deceased wife. And I really don't like a lot of the tenets, that's TENETS, of the Justice Department, because I'm living proof that justice is not always delivered because of cowardice of people in the Congress or cowardice in people in the courtrooms. So Dan Casey of Florida, here I come. Over to you, Jenny.
Thank you, Field.
Thank you
Thank
very much,
Cal.
Cal. Yeah, thank you, Cal.
All right, everybody. Field gives us typically 90 minutes of his time, so we've got about another 10, 15 minutes. So if you have a question for him, please feel free to raise your hand. I will unmute your mic or write it in the comment area underneath the picture of his books. So Robin from Indiana, I have unmuted your mic. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that if I remember right, I thought the White House also had a POW flag on top of it at one time.
Could you understand her, Jenny?
I believe she said she believes seeing a POW flag up on the White House at one point, and I can kind of think I might agree with you there, and that I saw one as well in a picture or something. Do you know anything about that, Field? And I would
No, I
have to
don't, but
I would have to go
go
with
ahead.
what Cal was saying about, if the White House is showing something like that too, then we're all, a prisoner of war. Because what are we in right now, everybody? We're in a war, and so that'll be interesting. I'm gonna do some research on it. Go ahead, Field.
Yeah, well, when I'm jogging your memory now, and I'm not much of a jogger, so forgive me if you can't remember. But isn't that great? Why don't other people speak the English language? They don't. I mean, some do, but that doesn't make you a snob just because you can speak English and have a big vocabulary. But as far as the White House and the POW flag, are we prisoners of war? Yes, we are. Are we in a war? Yes, we are. You're scratching your head now and saying, what war are we in? Well, it's a war that was started by George W. Bush right after 9/11, when he said that we're in a war. And nobody in the government has ever called that war to be stood down or cease. Well, it's effectively ceased now because we've got a loyal, constitutional loyal president named President Trump. And if I sound like a cheerleader for President Trump, I am. He's the most constitutionally inclined president of which I'm aware. And I hope I'm wrong. But I think the White House is the perfect place to display the POW flag. And I've said on your show, I'm jogging your memory, Jenny, but I've asked people if they know about the Bankers Manifesto of 1892. And also more recently, is it more recently or not? Let me think about that. A document that was written, the Organic Act of 1871. And the Organic Act of 1871 is the point at which we, the people of the United States of America, got put into detention, meaning we were no longer being represented honestly, but we've been prisoners of war since the Bankers Manifesto of 1892 cemented the nefarious effects of the Organic Act of 1871. But how come so few people know either of those documents? Bankers Manifesto 1892 and Organic Act of 1871. The reason why so few people know is because public education has been horrendously uh, a failure, and public education has not educated the public. But it's podcasts such as this one, under the leadership and the control of JENNI, who allow the truth to be spoken on their platform. So thank you, JENNI, from all the people in America who enjoy freedom and knowledge. And so that's my little blurb for the day. Over to you, JENNI.
Thank you, Field, and thank you for bringing the truth. So I've got the platform, you've got the truth. So thank you. I appreciate it.
You're, well,
Go ahead, Field.
yeah, I was going to say thank you, JENNI. I appreciate you. God bless you.
God bless you too, my friend. Okay, Miss Beverly Adams, go ahead. Your mic is unmuted.
Yes, I just posted information about that on your um, chat channel about the flag, the POW flag on the White House.
Oh, thank you.
That was all.
I'll grab it over from
Thank-
there and put it onto the main wall as well. So thank you, Beverly. All right, everybody. Anybody else
Thank
have
you,
any questions?
Beverly.
Anybody else have any questions for Field? Feel free to raise your hand. If not, Field, do you have any final thoughts before we let you go and we'll see you next week?
Yeah, are we going to do it on Monday next week, hopefully, or do you think it might be a different day?
No, we're gonna do it on Monday. Well, unless something happens with, my day gig work schedule, but everything is back to normal, as usual. Although I think what I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna try to do more podcasts like today in one day instead of doing them throughout the week, just because my day gig, that's priority. So, and I hate to cancel and reschedule on people, but the reality of it is, my day gig pays my bills and funds this podcast. So if I don't have that, I don't have this. I don't have, so. But yeah, so it'll be Monday, unless something crazy happens.
Yeah, well, if Monday's great, but I want you to know that of all your guests, I'm the easiest one to reschedule if you have to reschedule somebody, because I do not have a job, or as you call it, a day gig, but I worked from age 17 to age 60. And then when I turned 60, I sat and thought to myself, and I scratched my unshaven face, and I thought, why should I fly anymore and be away from home and be subject to the power of gravity? Because what goes up must come down. And so I elected to retire early from my flying. I really enjoyed my flying jobs, plural, the military flying job, and the time I spent with the airlines. And I spent 31 years as an airline pilot, and I really like the job. And during this course of this radio show, JENNI, even though you don't notice, you probably notice that I sometimes stop and start speaking. And that's because somebody who's known to you, and I'm not going to mention her name, but has somehow she found my brand new video camera and my brand new tripod, which I'd wondered where they went. And I know where she found them, but I don't know how she found it, but I'll find that out. But she assembled the tripod and the camera and turned it on. And she, at this point, is at least listening. And also, what's in the viewfinder right now? Oh, okay.
Real quickly,
Yeah.
Field, I've got two other hands here. Can you take these two questions real quick before we say
Yes,
goodbye?
be very happy to do so.
All right, Miss Jean Thompson, go ahead. Your mic is unmuted. Go ahead, Jean Thompson. Your mic is unmuted.
Sorry. I just wanted to, since I didn't get to talk to Field on Veterans Day, just thank him for his service, and also several other veterans that have been really important in my life, and one of those is my father, Alvin Cagle. Vern Renninger, who was in World War II, who was a pilot the excuse me, the last 6 months of the war, and Mr. Flieger, who was a doctor in the Philippines during that war, and I think I said Field. I appreciate you so much, Field, for giving us time out of your life to do this. And thank you, Jeannie,
Well,
also.
Thank you, Jean.
yeah, Gene, what I do is I do what I think God wants me to do. And one of the ways I get paid for volunteer service is getting favorable comments from persons such as yourself that have some people that I think you would admit are basically military heroes, regardless of what they did or didn't do in the military. You know, just the fact that people are willing to voluntarily uh, serve their country during times of war, that's like signing a blank check uh, for a amount up to and including your life. And that's true. You know, and the way I look at it, that I've served, or I've signed up for service 4 times. Once in the Navy at the age of 17, once in the Marine Corps at the age of 21, once in the Air Force, and the branch of the Air Force was the North Dakota Air National Guard. And I did that in 77 when I would have been 28. So, you know, it's kind words from people like yourself that have some element of respect for military people that sign a blank check to the United States of America that I'm willing to serve up to and including my death. Thank you for your kind comments, young lady.
Thank you, Field. All right, I've got one more before I got to get ready for John Baxter's show here in 30 minutes. Okie Texan, go ahead. Your mic is unmuted. Go ahead, Okie Texan. Okay. All right, everybody. Field will be back next Monday. Of course, you know, we'll just say he's going to be back next Monday. So same time. Well, it's going to be at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, back to his normal time. And then Derek Johnson will be here on Monday, as well as John Baxter. But John, come back here in 30 minutes, everybody. John Baxter will be here from Anti-Aging MedBed. So Field, we'll see you next week. God bless you. Congratulations on your new grandchild. And again, thank you for your service. Happy Veterans Day. God bless you. We love you. And we'll see you next week.
And I respect and love you, Jenny. So it takes all of us to win this battle, but I think God has already won it for us. Amen and bye-bye.
Amen to that, Field. He has already won this, everybody. And remember that when you're hearing the noise out there, stay out of the noise. Come back for John Baxter. Come back for Alpha Warrior. You're not going to want to miss it. And come back for Captain Kyle. Captain Kyle's been, we haven't had him here for a little bit. He took a week off for his birthday and then work. You know, he's got a day gig as well. So he's back today. Dallas is going to be back with us next week. He's not taking that job as of right now. So SGN is going to be on next week. So we've got some good stuff coming up, everybody. But stay out of the noise. We'll see you here shortly. God bless, Field. Love you. Have a great day. God bless.
Bye. Bye-bye, Jenny. God bless you too.
Bye, Field.